Yes, Sam and Sakar both. But what do you think you guys need to do differently in this game than you did in that first matchup with St.
Well, a whole lot, because they did a great job against us on the offensive and defensive end of the floor. Obviously, we have to get back in transition, try to make them play against our half-court defense. That starts with taking good shots and not turning it over. That's a huge key for them because they're devastating in transition. And then they have so many good isolation players that you can't leave your teammate out on an island to guard one-on-one, because in those situations they're very, very talented. So they provide a lot of challenges, defensively, switching on ball screens, and they have a lot of like-sized guys. Can be very disruptive on the defensive end.
Coach, what do you see in Sakar when you were recruiting him? Do you think he could become this type of defensive stopper that he is? I think Marcus said he was the best two-way player in the conference, or I read a quote about that recently. So what did you see in him?
Well, I saw, first and foremost, a young man who had great character, was raised right by his family. He's a guy who was a winner. He was a part of a winning tradition in high school. And he had a lot of different roles in helping his high school team win state championships. And so that showed me that he would buy into what was ever asked of him for our program. And Scar's been a really good player, and everybody has a different path in college, and Sakar's path has been a great one for him, and it's been a great one for us.
I was going to say, he took that redshirt year. Did that really help him?
In my opinion, it did, and I think he would agree as well. I think he really worked on his game. Redshirt years only work when the guy who's taking the redshirt year is willing to put in the time and the effort, and Scar was willing to do that, and then some.
Is there a little more juice, excitement for this game, kind of a revenge factor sort of game, I guess, a little bit?
We haven't talked about it in that respect. I mean, obviously, we have great respect for St. John's. They played really well in our first game, and we didn't play as well as we believe we're capable of playing. And in this conference, you got to take each game as its own individual entity and look at each game as being 0-0, and that's the way we're approaching it.
Why do you think you guys have been so successful in your new arena this season?
Well, I think, first of all, I think our crowds have been terrific and have given our guys great support, momentum, encouragement. And our guys, I think, are at a point now where there's a great comfort zone, too. We've had a lot of challenges on our home floor. Our guys have answered the bell. There's a lot more challenges to come, though, and we got to keep it going.
There's comfort in winning, and obviously when things are going right, it's more fun and it's easy. But how do you coach to avoid complacency, or your guys kind of getting content? Because it seems when things are going well, it's easy, but how do you coach to avoid that?
Well, I think it's human nature when things are going well to relax, and that's something that we talk about with our guys all the time, is that momentum is very fragile, and just because you're in a position where you've played well doesn't guarantee today or tomorrow success. You got to keep working at it, and we feel like we have a lot of room for improvement still, so that's been our main focus.
On that same line, Steve, I mean, as a coach, you really got to grind it out, and I know your goal is to win a Big East championship. How do you keep kids, though, or young guys focused on this game and not worried about Villanova in the big week at hand? Well,
the championships that I've been a part of, and fortunately been a part of a lot, are won game by game. And it's who can play the best over a course of a long season. And you can't get too far ahead of yourself, and you can't carry the past with you either. You got to stay present and continue to work to get better and honor the process of preparation and practice.
How cool and how rare is it for both the men's and the women's team to be doing as well as you guys are right now?
Oh, it's awesome. I'm so happy for Carolyn and her team. I mean, obviously they've been terrific for a number of years, and for us to be up there with them is pretty darn cool.
Marvin Clark really caused you guys issues last time around. What's the key to stopping him?
Well, obviously he's a very tough matchup because he's really a stretch five, and so you put your center in a lot of difficult situations when you guard him, because he's a terrific shooter. He's really good off the dribble if you close out too aggressively, and just a veteran, good all-around player. So we didn't have an answer last time. Hopefully we'll have an answer this time.
This Nationals, the whole season, top 5, 6, 7 scorers in the nation have been guards. unlike 25 years ago, 50 years ago, previous eras, what factors do you see in play that have made this era like this?
Well, I think, that obviously guard play and who considers themselves guards, it's a much bigger, much bigger pie than it used to be. And, kids have gotten so good with the ball and off the dribble where you can take advantage of a very talented guard and their ability to get where they need to get to put the ball in the basket or to make, advantageous plays for their team. So, I think our league, the Big East, has great guards, and I know around the country there's a lot of outstanding ones as well.
Along those same lines, I asked Sakar, what makes that step-back jumper that Marcus has kind of perfected this year, what makes that such a difficult move? And if back when you were playing, how would you have defended that?
Wow. Well, you could be a lot more physical when I played.
Yeah.
So I foul out probably in about 90 seconds in today's day and age. But, Marcus has such a knack for creating separation, and obviously that step-back shot is one of his primary ways of doing that. I think it's something that he learned because he wasn't the biggest guy. He wasn't going to shoot over people. So when you're being guarded closely, you have to figure out ways of creating space, and that step back is a great way for him to do it, for sure.
Top 10, the Kelsey Award watch lists. Do you embrace that? Do you kind of try to keep the team away from that? And how do you do that?
I think Marcus has earned the right to be in the discussion for those types of awards. I mean, he is not driven by that, and we're not driven by that either, but that doesn't make it any less impressive. Our focus, whether you're a coach or player, has to be on the task at hand. And right now, the task at hand is St. John's, not the Bob Cousy Award.